morning to everyone. So there are a lot of people here. So unlike a physical setup, I will not hear the usual good morning from the audience. But yeah, that's fine. Okay. Um, so I'm Isuru, and I work as a technical architect at 99X, and I started my career as an intern in the same company. Yeah, so surviving for 12 years there now. Um, the information technology industry is actually it's a very diverse thing. So a lot of people, especially your like most of the parents and grandparents also get really confused when you say it's a software engineer. Like uh, I'm sure that a lot of when you even if you are a software developer, I'm sure that you get a lot of requests from your friends to repair your computer or something like that. So when uh, for non-technical non-techies, so when they hear, okay, you are doing computer or science or information IT field, they think, okay, it's all about computer and you know everything. So it's not really the case in the industry. You can't do everything when you come to the industry. So you have to be specialized in certain areas to excel in your career. And also, unlike few years back, the software industry landscape is also getting different day by day because technology and software practices, processes wise also there are certain mega trends that are sweeping through the industry currently. So during the pandemic as well, it's a new experience for all of us. We were never used to work from home for a lengthy period of time without interacting with each other. But and we never knew tools like Zoom or anything like that. They were not widely used, and people didn't believe on the virtual meetings and virtual workspace. Now it's getting into a reality after almost 2 years. So likewise, the technology itself and the programming language itself are changing. For example, when I was an intern, we had all these waterfall methods. So it was very difficult for us to manage projects. Customer give us requirements, and then we finalize a big design upfront, and the requirement spec comes in like 100 to 1,000 pages inside a document. So and then customer says goodbye and go on vacation, maybe like comes after 12 months and ask us, okay, where did you develop my software, and figure it out that we have developed an entirely different thing than what he or what the customer expected initially. So after like a decade of time, I see the approach also it's very different in the industry. So earlier in terms of programming languages as well, like when I was intern, we had to write our custom frameworks just to close the database connections also, because the language didn't support that. So we have to keep track of all these database connections, um, and then we have to write a manual code to close them, to prevent memory leaks. But now if it's just a matter of you coding a using statement just to manage these connections, and then the runtime will just handle things for us. So it's that easy now. So what I wanted to emphasize on this is basically your job role will differ um, in coming years. So you have to what you learn today may be getting invalidated after a couple of years. So you have to learn, keep continuous learning. That is the key. Otherwise, you will easily get stagnated in this field. Okay, so what are we? So I'm talking about your the audience today. So and I'm sure that all of the audience are from undergraduates, maybe having a computer science as a major, or maybe IT or computer science as a subject. You're like you have studied IT or computer science as a subject in your degree program. But most importantly, um, you are a set of undergrads who are willing to uh, and having willing to join the IT industry and having the passion to build a fast career there. So that's the most important attribute about you all who gathered here today. So as I said, the engineering job roles are changing. So when we change from waterfall to iterative development, and then we from there we adapt agile. Maybe it's from Scrum to Kanban to Lean to extreme programming. All these models, the traditional job titles of software developers and other related engineering discipline has changed a lot in terms of the work we do and in terms of how we do it. Um, Maybe it's related to cultural attributes of companies as well. So in software industry, I have mainly observed that we have four key important trends. In any company, we value skills over titles. In any software company, you will realize this when you join the industry. The skills are valued more than titles. So at 99X also, we have a concept called leaders without titles. So that goes really well in this trend. And then the continuous delivery over deadline. So we develop software continuously, and then pieces by pieces we develop them, we deploy them into production as we develop over waiting for a specific deadline. So that's where the industry goes. So you have to deliver things into production every day. And then support over blame. So when we, for example, when QA person finds a bug, then we don't go and blame the developer who develops it. So we try to embrace the quality together. So in any Scrum or Agile team, QA and developers work together, not to play a blame game, but to support each other to build a quality software product. So that's the strategy. But in earlier days, in when we practice these waterfall methods, then um, the developer teams complete their job, and then the entire product was handed over to the QA team. And then when they find uh, the bugs or problems, then the war starts. The developer team and the QA team, they go into a war, and then they like have a lot of arguments. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is? And because they have to meet a deadline in terms of the final delivery. So everyone gets frustrated at a decade ago, but now things are very changed. And also the collaboration over competition between different teams in agile, in large teams. So we have interdifferent teams sync up, like we call it scrum of scrum. So there may be different teams working together in even several geographical areas. For example, one team may be working in Colombo, and then again another team in Oslo, and then another team in Sweden or something like that. So we collaborate with each other over competing to show ourselves, like who's a brilliant person or not. Like so that's a that's key 4 points we need to remember. I will take example from these scenarios when we uh, talk about the skills we require for modern day developers. So remember these 3 points, that your job role will be changing year by year. So when we come to the information technology and computer science, it's important that we understand the difference between each other. So it's not really the same thing when we call the IT and computer science jobs. So in information technology, we mainly focus on applying technology to solve business issues. And in computer science, we mainly focus on developing logic and design the computer um, systems and components. So there's a bit of a difference here. So just keep in mind that these are just two different things. So it's not really the same, I would say. So let's come into the common career paths. You will find that in Sri Lanka, so there are when we come talk um, on this, there are like hundreds of designations you will find in the internet. But I have out of that, I have listed the most common career paths you will find when you go to industry as an intern or a fresh grad. And then again, I have not listed here the entire career ladder. Like for example, if you start with a developer, then you won't be a developer forever. So you will have a designation, career structure, or a career ladder to climb up over the time. So, but I have not listed here the entire career ladder. Also, I have listed here the some of the designations you have to look for when you start applying for jobs after the graduation. So for example, if we start with developer, then we maybe like the most common designation would be the software engineer. So maybe associate software engineer, and then senior software engineer, associate lead, associate tech lead, senior tech lead, associate architect, and then architect. And then in certain companies, they have different kind of architects also, technical architects, um, and then maybe cloud architect, and they data architects, and all this based on the functions they do. And then maybe software architects, and then even enterprise architect if they have a enterprise architecture. And then above that, you will find designations like vice president, or maybe director, and then CTO kind of thing. So in terms of the engineering designation structure. And then so that's the software engineer. And then we have emerging fields like DevOps. There are demands for specializations as DevOps right now, because with the cloud adoption, there's a lot of traction going into the DevOps. So the DevOps means the development plus the operation, the collaboration model I mentioned you earlier. So it's a collaboration between dev and ops, and then there's a separate job role created for that. So you will have these DevOps engineers in a lot of companies. And then computer or application security engineers, ethical hackers, or um, the people who test the software for security vulnerabilities. So there's a different designation structure for that. And you will, in the market, you will find these different certifications also. Ethical hacker certification, so you can take those also, and then just move into these computer security um, uh, job roles. And then we have performance engineering, who will work with development teams, and then they will have this expertise on um, uh, how to optimize the application performance. And and we also have quality engineering track, that's the commonly known as QA. And in that we have quality or the QA engineers, and then that designation structure goes a bit similar to this software engineer this designation. There you will have this head of quality engineering, and then maybe like quality architects, quality leads, something like that. And then in that also there are specializations such as test automations. So that so QA, like there'll be manual QA persons, and then there'll be uh, expert, people with specializations onto test automation. So in test automation, you have to write code actually. So in manual QA, they might not write um, code lines, but when it comes to the test automation, you have to write code. And then you have these emerging fields like infrastructure engineering. If the company has like complex infrastructure to manage, we have emerging concepts as infrastructure as code. There you will have these Docker and Kubernetes kind of administration job role. And then we have this usability engineering track, where you have UI and UX. I'll tell you the difference between these. And these are two different fields. And then that designation structure also goes into the UX architect, uh, maybe like VP UX, something like that. That differs from company to company. And then we have requirement management track, maybe business analysts who will assist the development team and the client transform the um, transform the requirements from client language to developer language. So they act as um, the middleman. So there are like companies who have a lot of business analysis. And then we have domain experts. For example, if a software company develops a certain maybe ERP, or air ticket reservation system, or maybe like chemical or process management system. So they will recruit domain experts separately who have this domain knowledge. For example, a chemical engineer will be recruited into a software company as a domain expert. So he will assist the developer team, okay, to in the feature designs and all. Then they will work with these business analysts as well. And then we have this project management track. We have project managers who will, or the project leads who will overlook all, the entire teams and then operations. And then we have process specific roles like Scrum Masters. So some big teams will have full-time Scrum Masters with them. And then we have process and compliance. You may know that in recently there's a lot of hype between all these processes. For example, when you do a banking system, you have different processes to be complied with. If you work with a US client, then you have this privacy laws, the US privacy shield, something like that. And then that's GDPR for Europe, and then for UK you have this UK privacy lawsuit separately. So that those need to be complied with. So then, so we will have this process consultant who knows about this stuff, and these things, and then they will help the teams to comply into these processes. And also we have delivery management track also. This is also an emerging track. This is very different from the project management track. So it's very different. So they will be focusing only on the software delivery. How do we deliver um, the different pieces we develop by different teams together, and then not breaking this production environment. So so it's like solving a puzzle. So then these delivery specialists will help the team. So there are tracks like from starting from delivery leads and then head of delivery um, in different companies. Yeah, and then we have this product management track. Um, so the product managers also need to have expertise on domain knowledge also. We have product managers, product and process specific roles like um, product owners. So in large team, there'll be full-time job roles to play these product management and product owner responsibilities. And then in data engineering, we have database administrators, and then data engineers and data scientists. So I'll also explain the difference between these, especially the data engineering and data science. What is the difference there? And then in support engineering, we have this IT administration and network engineers. So that's again a totally different stream, not really connected to software development directly, but as a support engineering discipline. So we will see these designation in different companies. And also in certain companies, we will see these embedded systems and IoT development. Then again, it's an emerging field. So there are um, there are courses in universities which focus on this area. Like they will have a mixture of the hardware development and software development together, and then they will focus on this IoT development and then integrations. And then again, we have this artificial intelligence related track, AI and machine learning, so that again gaining a lot of traction, and this is currently a highly paid area. So if you want to go into this, you have to work hard learning these concepts and doing experiments. If you build this competency, I'm sure that you can go into a highly paid job uh, in anywhere. And then again, I just included this point also on the academic. Um, so there are good academic careers also available when it comes to IT. Um, this is these academic careers are not really related to the industry currently, but like there are job roles as research officer, like lecturer, tutor, or anything like that. So if you are passionate on teaching and helping students and helping people to grow up, then you can also choose one of these academic career track. Yeah, so it's a lot of career. So you must have realized by now that it's just not, it's not about the software engineer. So it's a lot of things. So you have you can you have a lot of choices to make. So So it's up to you to think about your passion and then make a choice. And when it comes to the software engineering track, the developer track, we have certain different job roles based on your specialization also. So there are people who specialize as web developers, so maybe like front end, and then even HTML and CSS. So they and then JavaScript, like maybe like Angular, React, or anything like that, and Vue.js. So they call themselves as web developers. And then there are separate tracks for backend or API developers. So people hire these roles separately. And then we have full stack developers, we have cloud developers, AWS or Azure or like Google Cloud. And then we have mobile developers separately, maybe like in Objective-C or React Native or Flutter, um, anything like that. So we have mobile developers track also. And then based on the programming language or framework, there will be special roles, for example, like Python developers, R and SQL developers, JavaScript or Node.js developers, maybe like platforms like Terraform developers. So they different companies based on their need may differentiate these job roles when it comes to the software engineering track. So in software engineering also we have this flavors in your job roles. So then if you, for example, if you decide to um, expertise Python development, then or like Terraform development, maybe like, or um, Flutter or React Native development. So you can find jobs also based on these competencies in the industry. So this is a typical career ladder I talked about. So you, after graduation, you start the entry level. So that's maybe like software engineer interns or associate software engineers or software engineers, and you can um, go up in the ladder like individual contributor like software engineers, and then managerial level, and then director, vice president, and um, CTO, CEO level, like in certain. So maybe like architects would come here in the managerial level when it comes to tech uh, career ladder. Yeah, so just to make you aware of different types of software companies we find in Sri Lanka. I'm telling this specifically because the experience you will receive will be drastically different in different these companies. So we have like traditional service-based companies. So they run projects, software projects, like they basically outsource the development service without any specialization. Um, I will not uh, mention any names, but you can like by seeing how they work also you can recognize these different companies. And then we have a traditional model like product based. They own a product, they have a product, and then they develop it. So there are like companies like that. And then we have these medium sized IT firms, maybe like they provide service, product based or mix. So based on like whether you are in large organization, which is like standard ones, and then the medium sized one, you will receive a different flavor of experience. Um, so it's based on your on on um, on the vision of your vision, like where you want to go. You can even choose where you want to join. So 99x falls into this category because we are also growing fast. It's true that, but we are still in the upper boundary of this category, I would say. And then we have these startups. There will in there you will find a very little work-life balance. You will have to work like hell, like day and night. But then again, it's a really different experience, I would say. But that experience also it will be valuable in in later times. So you will get a lot of tech exposure, but maybe you will not get much of the process and compliance exposure as in other categories. Yeah. So just ignore the numbers here. I just got two pictures from the internet just to show that based on the job role and your expertise, the pay you will get will vary. For example, if you have this data scientist, machine learning, DevOps, also uh, hot our trending demands. If you have these competencies, then you will get a much higher salary. So it's not like that every software engineer will get the same salary. It's not. So based on your competencies, you will get a different salary scale. So these are just dummy numbers, just ignore them. And also based on the language you specialize, also you will get different salary levels. So, so this is a picture I took from the Stack Overflow developer survey. This is the global data for 2019. So then again, just ignore these figures, but take the idea with you. If you want to work hard and learn hard, and then focus on these newest technologies, and then you will have a good salary. And the difference between UI and UX, it's very similar, but it's not the same thing. If you are good at designing these graphics and all, so you can choose and then you can choose these careers, UI or UX, if you have a very artistic mind, if you are passionate about the usability aspects. Like for example, let's say when you take a phone, how do you design uh, this interface? How will it look like in the night? How will it look like in the daytime? So when you design mobile apps, also so will people able to touch with their thumbs like that? So will people have to use both hands to use your application, or it's all usability concerns? So UI is basically all about the visual design. So the UI interface design. So you will play around colors, layout, branding, typography, and all these things in UI. But UX is a lot more than that. It's about user research, usability testing, personas, information architecture. Information architecture means given a user interface, how you organize these different information here. Uh, like so, in this slide, I have organized my title here and the image here and maybe like some graphic here. So it's how you organize these different um, information in your user interface. So that makes a difference between in the usability. For example, if I make this title somewhere here and in a smaller font, so that will not look like a title to you. So that makes a difference how you organize this information inside in a screen. So that also is a focus on UX, and then user workflows, and then these different prototyping. So there are certain roles which is played by both UX and UI um, engineers. Like if you are a UI engineer, you will play still play these roles, and if you are a UX engineer, you will still play these roles. So like wireframing, prototyping, and some certain aspects of usability and accessibility, um, testing or analysis you will have to do. And the difference between the data engineering as data science. So in data engineering, um, developers like they construct, test, and maintain the data, or like maybe like let's say we call it big data if it's in large volumes. And then data engineers basically take care of the data itself, like how you manage the data. But when it comes to the data science, so basically in data science we take this data and then we cleanse and organize these data to derive analytics, maybe like business analytics, so any other analytics which is useful for further processing like machine learning or AI aspects. So it's done by data scientists. So the data science is basically an emerging field in Sri Lanka also. Like so, if you have these skills, I'm sure that you will um, have a better future. But in one day, like maybe in few years, if data science will become a very common stream that everyone has to learn it anyway. Yeah, so we have looked at the different options and let's look at about like certain skills you will require to this to play um, these job roles in order to climb up the career ladders very fast. So maybe like it's not magic, but it's very common sense, like continuous learning, and then the good IT skills, self management in terms of time and your energy, and like yeah, and then critical thinking, communication. This is very important, communications and language skills. If you come into IT industry, your English language skills also does matter a lot. Um, Without language skills you can't communicate correctly with the customers. And then teamwork, career management or career focus, and then these IQ levels you, and then in certain job roles how you handle these informations also will matter a lot. Yeah, so we'll have a look on the certain specific competencies required for software engineers, QAs and UI/UX people specifically. And if you are coming to a software engineer job, you have to have a very good understanding on the basics. For example, like concepts, WP concepts, let's say, design patterns or best practices, or how to do these clean code stuff. You have to have a very good understanding. And then the knowledge and the confident on the technology itself. And then passionate in delivery, like quality, making quality software, and then take part in technical discussions, so maybe like learn automation and so forth. That is really valuable. And then uh, the quality focus, developer needs to do developer test also before we pass things into QA if we have QAs. But in certain projects we don't have QA, so that means developers has to ensure the quality of the things they build. So that quality for focus also, it's very important when you come into a software engineer role. And then you have to organize things uh, very nicely, like ensure solution artifacts are properly organized, and even the code, so that otherwise that code will one day make your life very hard. And then competence in these relevant project tools, and then this focus on the technical depths, like whether you need to clean this code or not. We generally follow the Boy Scout rule. That's the key. That's to keep the campground better than you found it. So that's the Boy Scout rule. We practice in software teams as well. And maybe like quality engineers, like planning and execution in functional smoke, regression and acceptance tests, like the understanding on how to do that. And then these organizations and communication skills, and then the competency in the different project tooling and all. Yeah, and then maybe when it comes to UI and UX, you should have very good graphic design skills, and then a sense like, and a very good common sense, I would say. A common sense is important to understand the user's feelings and emotions, and they are like pain points and likewise. So that is really important. And then these communication skills and the knowledge on the basic UI and UX concepts and tooling. So don't get afraid. Um, we are not looking all of these skills in when you come to um, when you come to your like internship, or when you come to industry as a fresh grad. So this is just to let you know, okay, what skills you need to focus now. Uh, yeah, so then you when you get in and then develop these skills during the university time, but then again after joining industry, you can, while you perform in the team, you can just have a focus on these things as your continuous learning plan. Yeah, so how to be prepared as an undergraduate to face this. So um, maybe like common techniques, like try to um, do hands-on work, like maybe you can participate on these open source or collaborative projects, like likewise, and do a very good final year project. So don't take that very easy and then do something, but do a very good final year project. That will really help when you come to industry. And then try out these new things. When you hear a new thing, just go and like do a hello world stuff. That's also very important. And then maybe optionally, like if you're really passionate on a certain technology, try and earn these certifications. Like I have just shown the um, Asia certificate, but Manoj is a guru in AWS. We have like different certificate on AWS, and we have different certificates, maybe like on Cisco certificates, Java, Oracle certifications. Likewise, like ethical hacking certifications or Red Hat certification. There are like a lot of certification out there. If you want, if you are really passionate about a certain thing, you can even attempt and earn this certification also. That will help you to grow up your career ladder very fast. But the key is basically to learn continuously. If you are looking for free resources, there are free resources are available already. Like a lot of free resources are available. So if you want to learn AWS, let's say, so there are like um, uh, contributors who make these contents, so that you can go to these channels and learn. Uh, for example, like then again, I take example from the Manoj, but he basically do a lot of effort every day to make these content available so other people can learn. So I have read these comments over his videos also, like different people has appreciated so much because it's freely available in YouTube. So So likewise, there are like a lot of tutorials, YouTube videos, conference recordings, and all these things are available out there in the internet. So if you are interested in something, learning something, just search in the Google, find these resources and learn. Um, okay, and also be aware on the latest tech trends. So there are like places where you can get these trends. For example, I have shown this Gartner trends. So they predict these technology trends every year. Uh, and um, yeah, so there are like tech radars which is done by different companies as well. Maybe a tech radar from ThoughtWorks. It's also a very good place to go and look at on what are the technologies getting emerged. So then you can try to like learn these things, do try out hello world stuff on these different technologies. Then you can learn and be ahead from rest of the crowd in the industry. Then you can have a faster career growth also in one day. Yeah, so I'm going to wrap up with these thoughts. Basically, I just I I know that I overloaded you with a lot of contents, but I just wanted to show these the amount of opportunities available out there in the industry for you to make a choice. So I don't want you to like, I didn't want to make you scared, but I just wanted to just open the window and just show the outside world, just to show that there are a lot of things you can do if you have the correct passion. So the first one is get to know yourself. Where do you want to go? For example, let's say I graduated 12 years ago from University of Moratuwa, and I graduated from Faculty of Engineering, and I from compute um, computer science and engineering department. So I had some of my batchmates who graduated from computer science and engineering who chose like different things based on their passions. For example, some people chose networking, and some people chose finance. Like if you look on like, there's a one person who joined a bank in IT, and now he's heading the IT division of NDB Bank, as the vice president in IT in NDB Bank. So that's my one of my batchmates. So there are people who joined central bank as IT directors, and then maybe like there are different paths apart from the traditional ones, like the regular industry path. So you can choose what do you need, whether you need to go into industry and then after some time take higher studies, or like excel in certain technologies, or go in maybe like different paths like UIUX, QA, delivery, and all these things. You can make a choice. So discover yourself and understand where your passion is. That's very important. And then assess your competencies, and then work on these um, required core competencies. So I walk you through on these required core competencies for SC, QA, and UI and UX. Um, so if you are passionate in coming to these job roles, you can work on these, focus on these competencies, and be confident. So if you want to do it, if you have the passion, if you have the commitment, you can do anything. And accept the challenge, and don't try to compare you with others. That's not going to work anymore after you graduate. So we don't have this class 1 2 3 uh, kind of ratings in the industry. So don't compare yourself with others. So you have to go on your own journey. Yeah. So if you and never fear to switch paths if you figure out, okay, you are in the wrong place or wrong path. Maybe like you can evaluate yourself and then switch a path, but don't do it in a panic. So think really carefully and take wise decisions if you had to make a career switch decision. Yeah, and then look up to these role models available, like visible to you, and then see their profiles, what they have done, what they do, how they manage this time to do this and that. So you can learn a lot from these role models, um, like to get an idea how they manage the work, especially. So that's also very important when preparing yourself for this industry journey. Yeah. So with that thought, maybe we can spare a couple of minutes for question and answers. I uh, originally prepared for 40 minutes, but then again I ran out of time by 10 minutes. Maybe we can spare 5 minutes for question and answers. Um, Anyone? Or did you understand something, or you didn't understood anything? Um, yeah. So if you are not very comfortable in speaking, maybe you can send a chat. Yeah. Can a new graduate apply for a job in the banking IT department? Can. That's why I brought that example from one of my batchmates. So in addition, he did a SIMA, he achieved SIMA qualification also when he graduated. And through that, he directly joined a banking IT department. But the answer is yes, if you want, then work for it, you can make it. What does an IT architecture do in job field, and what are the responsibilities? So I hope you're asking about the architect's job. So architects are basically senior members. So you have to have a lot of experience to become an architect. So you might not be able to join as an architect immediately, but maybe like over the years, after like maybe 5 to 10 years, you will be able to be an architect. So architect is the one who do the architecture, and he is responsible to maintain the architecture also. Could you explain more about project management? I mean, about the job role and what to do as a project manager. Um, so when it comes to the project management, different companies have different roles. So basically, in some companies, they are responsible of the delivery also. So I told you about delivery management. Project managers are also basically responsible project delivery in certain companies, not. So basically, project managers has to lead the team, and then they have to overlook the timelines and ensure um, the required resources are there and the timelines are met. So that's the basic job of a project manager in high level. Should we know every part in particular area as an intern? No, it's not required. It's not expected. Also, maybe if you have a very good understanding on the concepts and maybe a basic knowledge on the tooling, like for example, let's say if you uh, are coming into an internship as like a .NET developer, so you need to have a basic knowledge in .NET, but not an expert knowledge. Does 99X offers machine learning or data science internships? Currently, we don't offer this specific internship in data science or internship, but in certain projects there are POCs, so like certain components being developed. So maybe if you are assigned to a such project, maybe you can get certain experience, but we don't hire interns in machine learning. No, that's not at, at the moment at least. What are the basic requirements we learn for choosing business analysts as a career? um, I'm I am really not sure about the business analyst career because I'm from a development background. Maybe from what I know, basically you need to have a very good communication skills, the language skills, and then the collaboration and teamwork skills, and then um, uh, the domain knowledge. For example, if you know a certain domain, then you can do a better good job as a business analyst. So domain knowledge is very vital. Maybe as interns, they won't look for these domain expertise and all. Maybe like a very good communicator, you understand the basic concepts, that will be enough to start as a business analyst. Hope I answered that question. Um, what should need to know for a QA internship? Um, yeah, then again, basically for QA internship, you are expected to know the basics of um, the QA, like quality engineering basics, and maybe a basic knowledge of certain tools which is used for quality engineering. So that's like I um, I'm not sure whether what are like tools commonly used. Then again, but it, so there are like if you talk to a QA person, you will get to know it better. Yeah. So can we conduct career in both UI UX and web development? Yes, there are people who does uh, that. So there are people who knows how to code in JavaScript and all, and then if they know how to design stuff really well, and then you can have this career together. Does really software engineer roles stressful than other jobs? It's not really. So remember, I talk about different company types also. So it's basically the stress levels and the amount of workload. It's really depends on where you work. So it's not specific to a certain job role. Okay, so exactly 1 hour uh, elapsed. Um, Maybe I'll take this final question and wrap up. Are there any recruitment for internship in networking in 99x or other companies? In other companies, certainly yes, but in 99x, we don't have a large IT department. So I have not seen any internship vacancies in networking recently. Maybe you can just have a look on our 99x careers page. Yeah, I have received two more questions, so I'll reply them in the chat. And with the interest of time, I will hand the session control back to Nishani. I hope my presentation was not boring, and hope you learned something. And thanks everyone for listening. Back to you, Nishani.
Thank you, Shiraya. Thank you for the wonderful and informative session. And I think we have Manoj Haya next. And guys, it's very impressive that you have a lot of questions. So do ask them, and if you can just speak out. Both of our speakers are really friendly, and you can ask them anything. Don't worry, you can speak out and ask questions, but of course, if you have any doubt in speaking out, you can always send a chat. That's also acceptable. But just to make the session interactive and more interesting, I suggest that you ask questions. Yeah, so that's all. I think we have Manoj Chaya next. Over to you.
Thanks, Nishani. Hi, guys. Good morning. How are you all? I hope all of you are safe and well, and joining at the luxury of your houses, which is like, I mean, it's really good, right? Although, I mean, we see a lot of things. I mean, a lot of people complains. It would be really good to, let's say, go to universities and go to offices and continue the work, which is of course really. But unfortunately, we have to now work from home. Like you guys have to join, the lectures from homes. But there are a lot of good things there as well. Yeah, I hope some of you are also enjoying those good things, because we always should look at things positively. And actually, I was also joining into the previous sessions from Isuru, and he shared so many information, like it was very informative. And I'm pretty sure that you guys are very aware about a lot of paths that you can take now that you are in this IT industry, right? And there are a lot of information that he shared. I believe like he will share the slides, so you guys can go all over again and really understand once more. But today in my session, guys, I would like to mainly focus on how do you lay that foundation to achieve and be successful any of those paths, the career paths that you select, right? And I think Isuru stopped at a very good point where I can very nicely segue into my session. And he said, you need to have passion, right? And you need to be always learn, right? That continuous learning must be a thing, the trait that you all must develop. Yeah, so with that, let me quickly go ahead and share my screen. I usually like to do sessions physically, like meeting you guys, but then again, we can't no longer do that. So I'm thankful now we can communicate and have a discussion with you all over online, Zoom and all these good platforms that we have. So today, guys, my session is about 5 tips for a successful IT career. My name is, like Nishani mentioned, I'm Manoj. I'm also a technical architect at 99x. So this session, guys, I would like to give you a couple of tips that I've learned over the years, by studying other successful people in Sri Lanka as well as internationally, and the things that they have actually developed in their lives to be successful. And I don't want to like particularly focus IT career itself, right? I would like to give you these tips, and these tips can be applicable for really anything, right? So it would be more like how to be successful in life, and these are some of the foundational tips that you guys can use, not just for your career but also every other thing, all other aspects in your life. So yeah, so this is the agenda, right? I will first go over these 5 tips. So I would call it this 5 steps framework for a successful IT career, and of course for a successful life, right? Then I'm going to give a challenge for you guys, right? And yeah, right now I'd like to remind you, if you guys can have a a notebook, right? A pen and a pencil and paper, that would be really good, because I will ask you to do a couple of activities during my session. So then I will ask you to like raise hands. I hope you guys can do that in Zoom. If not, let me know, or you guys can just put it in the chat, right? And finally, we can wind up with the Q&A. Okay. So if you really Google what is how to be successful in life, guys, you will get so many suggestions, right? So many answers. So, these are some of the common ones. You got to work hard, right? And you have to be good, right? Be good to your community, be good to your family, right? All that. And you have to have good focus, right? Without focus, then you will be like going everywhere. And you got to push the limits. You shouldn't be comfortable. I mean, that is one of the main things that you should really do. I mean, if you become comfortable in whatever that you are doing, then you will stagnate at that place, right? So you have to push the limits, get to the next level, and always have that mindset. And you have to create ideas, be persistent. So many suggestions and very good articles and all these things get suggested, right? But really, the question I want you to ask is, why would you need to be successful in the IT career, or let's say as a whole in life, right? So that's one of the main question that you should ask yourself, right? Because if you don't have a strong why, guys, I mean, these sessions that we do, or the things that you will learn, it would be very temporary, right? You might just forget it maybe in the next day. That won't be consistent, right? And that won't like really persist in your minds. So that's why you need to find your why, right? And my session is also based on that. Okay. So yes. So really, why do you have to be successful, guys? Because what I think is, it is your duty to be successful. Because I understand now some of you are in the level 1, or there are level 2 guys also, I believe. Even before you join the universities, guys, right? It's your parents who had done a lot of investment on you, right? You went to so many tuition classes, I believe, right? And they spend quite a lot on your education. Even though like we have been having free education, we had to go to tuition classes, A-level tuition classes, and so many things, right? So they spend quite a bit. I mean, it's not your money. I mean, they spend for you, right? And so it is now your duty to be successful and actually, repay those debts to your parents. I mean, in the first place, really, right? And not just for your parents, right? It is your future that we are talking about, right? So you should take the responsibility for yourself, really, to become successful. So yeah, unless you be successful as a duty, right? Then these things that a lot of people, the success people share will be just very temporary. You would maybe follow it for a couple of days, then you will forget it, because we are in a lot of noise, right? When you go to, let's say, university lectures and so on, you just get to the normal way of learning. The daily routines are there, the lectures are there, same lectures repeating every week, right? And then the same, you will get into the same habits, daily habits that you are mostly familiar with, right? Then you get into the same circle, right? So that small spike is not going to last for a long time. So that's why you need to consider it as a duty to be successful in your life. So in order to do that, guys, I would like to introduce 5-step framework. Okay, you can just consider this as tips. Number one, in the Isuru sessions also, he mentioned like you have to find your passion, right? Passion and your life goals are the basement for your success. If you really don't understand what you need in your life, okay, then you are like drifting everywhere. You don't have a purpose, like this is where I want to see myself, let's say in 5 years, long term, and not just in your career wise, right? I mean, it has to be the lifelong goals that you should have, right? So you need to identify what exactly you need to achieve in your life. I mean, we usually don't happen to think about this, if you'll agree with me. So because we are like get used to the same daily things that we are every day doing. So we don't have a separate time to step back and really think, why do we need, what is my purpose really in this life? So that's the number one thing. You need to find your goals, right? And then you need to, once you have a really good set of life goals, and then you need to find an execution plan for it, right? Because once you identified, okay, these are the things that I need to achieve in my life, then whatever you do should complement that life goal. It's not something that you do totally against your life goal and send you backwards, but always you need to go one step at a time towards your life goals. So that's where you need a proper execution plan, right? And then you need to find a system, right? So like I previously mentioned, a lot of people tend to listen to different motivational talks and all this and that, right? But motivation itself is very temporary, right? You may be motivated for an hour or a day maximum, and then again you get back to your normal life. So you need to find a systematic approach is a must, right? So I'm going to discuss regarding that a little bit as well. And then you need to inline your goals, because we all have this 24 hours per day, right? So how are we going to effectively use our time in order to reach our goals? That's I'm going to talk at point number 4. And finally, last, I mean, this is not, of course, not least, this is one of the fundamental thing that you need to do. How do you continuously learn? Because the industry that you are in, guys, I would say it is one of the, you guys are really fortunate. We as people who are in this industry, you all are very fortunate, because this industry is one of the highly paid industry in Sri Lanka, right? And unlike other industries, it's very easy to upskill. You can easily learn the skills that is required to be successful in industry very fast and very easily. There are abundant content, right? And just imagine now, if we were in other industry, sometimes we do not have the luxury of working from home, and so so many benefits that comes along with this industry. So I will walk over some of the continuous learning methods and why that is really important as well. But first, let's start with finding your life goal. Okay. So when you're looking at your goals, like what are my goals? Why do I really live? Right? That big question. Like I mentioned, you need to find the purpose for your life. So when you look at it, I mean, the person to person is very different. The goals that I have for me is completely different for someone. For you, maybe a different set of goals. But there are different areas, right? The common areas that you can look at and then set some goals at those areas. These are like very common areas that we all want success really in. One of the things is family, right? Whether you are married or not, or I mean, at least you have parents, right? So what what are the goals that you can set for your success in your family and loved ones, right? What successes do you need for your family, for your loved ones? That is one of the things, because family is important to every one of us, right? So that's one of them. And then the financial aspects of it, because sometimes a lot of people do not, even in university schools, we don't talk about money, because it's like a taboo subject. Although like we are living in a economical world, the money is very important, because we need money to exchange goods and services. So you need to have very good financial goals, right, guys? So that's another area that you should set your goals against, right? You need to have your goals against for your family, financial goals, and the career growth, right? I think in Isuru's session, he explains so many paths that you can take, and you can, of course, find a path that really, suits you, that you are passionate enough, and then start growing in that particular path. So the career growth is very important. You need to set some goal towards that. And then the personal development and reputation, which is, could be an area that you are also interested in, because personal development is one of the essential things, particularly in this industry, as I mentioned. If you don't learn new things, because if you just think about the other industry, let's say you have other engineering field, let's say civil engineering, right? So civil engineering, if you are a civil engineer, maybe you got to build a bridge, right? And in the fundamentals of building a bridge is not going to be changed over the years, let's say 5 years, 10 years. I mean, it's going to be like fundamentally, I believe, I think like those are going to be very much similar. But that is completely different in IT industry, guys. The things that you learn today, the new technology that you learn today is going to be deprecated in about few months for the most part, right? So you need to keep up to date with the the new technologies and so on. And for that, you need to start looking at your personal development aspects, continuous learning, and so on. So while doing that, you also have to build some reputation. So when you build a reputation and you show others that what you are interested in, you will see so many opportunities flowing at your direction. And this is something I see this is lagging in a lot of IT students, right? That is, some of them are really highly technical people, right? But they don't want to share their knowledge, skills with others, right? They will think it's enough that they are very confident and all that. But it's very important to share your knowledge with your community, right? There are so many benefits to it, guys. So one thing is, when you share these things in terms of, let's say, blog post or videos or whatever, right? Then when you're putting some content out to the community, right, you will start learning more about it. You try to learn, be that expert in that particular field, and then produce this content out. So your knowledge will keep getting accumulated, right? And you'll be very knowledgeable about that particular area. And one of the really good way of learning things is to teach. So that is one of the approach I also follow. I'm also following. So if I want to learn something, I go ahead and learn that, and then I'll try to teach it to someone. So when I'm teaching it, then I try to learn everything, all edges and corners of that particular subject, and then produce that content, and then sharing with the community. Because one thing is, then if I get a question from the community, I should be knowledgeable enough to answer that. Otherwise, like, it's not good for me. And at the same time, the researchers have found the most effective way of learning something is learn by teaching, right? So that is one of the main thing. And with that, you are going to build a reputation for you, and that reputation gives you a lot of benefits, guys, right? Yeah. So not only those stuff, because it's all about, we have to live in in our body, right? So it's about physical and spiritual well-being as well. So I heard that someone asked, is it very stressful in this job? I mean, it's the way that you look at it, really, I would say. you consider something stressful if you don't want to engage in it, right? And you are very reluctant and you don't want to engage in that particular activity, and thereby it will build some stress for you. So that is, I mean, you need to change that mindset, guys. So I will help you like how to do that as well. So physical well-being and the spiritual well-being is very important. We all have, we are believing in something, right? Religion or whatever, right? So I mean, we need to be spiritually satisfied as well every day, right? So whenever bad things happen to us, let's say the corona time, right? We never know, it's very uncertain. So whenever that happens, it's not about the things that we like learn and the carry, and none of those things going to be matter, right? The things that you then, how you train your mind, and those things are really comes in handy. So the spiritual well-being is very important, as well as the physical well-being, because if you are sick, there's nothing you can do really about it. You can't think about personal development and any other, you can't take care of your family or anything. Then the community, right? The community aspect is again very important, because we learned a lot of things for free, and it should be our responsibility to share what we learn with the community, so someone else might be benefited, or at least like you will feel good about yourself if no one else like care about what you put out, right? Doesn't matter. I mean, you shouldn't really think about what others think, right? Because whatever you do, guys, something I just want to share with you. Whatever you do, guys, 50% of the people will like what you do. 50% of the people will do not like what you do, right? So if you based your happiness and your success, the way you think about success based on others' opinion, that would be a very bad mistake. So it's you who should think, okay, I am doing my best. The best is again, asterisk. Best depends on situation to situation what your best is, but you should do your best at any time. So your conscious is like clear, then okay, I have done my best, whatever it is, right? So others, if they say good thing about it, then okay, they are talking something good in me, and I already know about it. And if they say bad thing, just say, okay, is this something that I should improve? If there's something you should improve, go ahead and improve it. Otherwise, I mean, you don't really have to think about it. Okay, so I'm just going a little bit out of the topic, but here's my first example, exercise, guys, right? I ask you to just get a paper and a pencil, right? So I want you to just write down one of your life goals. Now here's few things that I'll give you like, let's say 2 minutes or so. Let me see what the time is right now. But before that, guys, when you're writing that particular life goal, make sure you always make your goals really big. Don't have very tiny teeny goals, right? Because when you set your life goals, guys, and when you achieve it, you should feel satisfaction, right? You should be completely satisfied. But the thing is, like, if you have very subpar, very small goals, you may quickly go ahead and achieve it, but then you don't get that required satisfaction for you to keep doing, keep pursuing your goals. So when you are writing your goal, guys, make sure it is really big, and when you even think about it, you feel very excited. Okay, that is really the thing that I want to achieve, right? So yeah, so it must be part of your life purposes, because if you really think about, let's say that we are you joined a company after your graduation, right, as a software developer or a QA, UIUX, right? And if you just think that is just your job, right, and you go to work at 8 a.m. and you are done at 5 p.m. and until such time you are working, right? Then you will complete, let's say after 8 p.m. then you are that in the work mode, and after 5 you are like waiting until 5 p.m. You can be done with your work, or you're like longing for your weekends, right? Because you can be free of your work, and when it comes to Monday, then you are again like totally unsatisfied and don't have much energy because you have to go over that week all over again, right? because that, guys, is really about when you don't when you think your work as you're working for someone else, and it's not really something in it for you other than the salary that you may get, right? That's not a good mindset, I will believe, because how much time that we spend at office, it's about 9 hours or so, right, usually. So if you really do the things that you don't like over that 9 hours, that you don't really want in over that 9 hours, and it would be a very waste of time. We live very short time. Why would you do something that you don't like? So uh, yeah, so let's start with this exercise, right? I'll give you not 3 minutes. I'll give you 2 minutes, because only one life goal, right? But ideally, I mean, this takes a lot of some time. You can't directly just right out of the box come, okay, this is what I need. You need to think. You need to sleep on it a little bit and really understand. Maybe you have to think while you're eating, while you're having a shower, and really see what you really need. Look at the things that I previously mentioned, the areas that you can think about. This is just a help, right? Not There could be some different other areas, not only these, how many, 6 areas. But right now, as an exercise to get you guys started, I'll give you 2 minutes. I'll be silent, right? And just write down one massive life goal that you really, really want to achieve in your life, right? And once you're done that, just raise your hand so I can see it. I hope Nishani, they can do that. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead and do it, guys. So I'm gonna be silent for a couple of minutes. That's good. Avishka, Silva, Manoj, Lakshan. So yeah, we get several guys. I hope many of you also have like written something. Yeah, so that is the first step. Okay. In these 5 steps, first you need to identify what really matters to you, the goals that you really want to achieve. Hope you guys can hear me. Yeah, you can hear me. Okay, the next thing, guys, now you need to continue this exercise for the others as well. I mean, when you really look at to be successful, we have to be successful in our family life, like finance, and also the community wise, right? Anything that really matters to you. Because in this framework, I would like to present to you let's say as the second step. Once you identify these goals, guys, you need to find an execution plan that get you towards achieving those goals, right? So here's what you should do. So let's say you identified one of your goals, right? Let's say I have this one, right? I have a healthy body and a healthy mind, because I think, okay, for me it is very important to have a healthy body and healthy mind, because it's only one body I have. I can't be sick, right? So then what you should do, guys, just write down anything that comes to your mind, right? Don't overthink, right? Don't uh, like try to learn the mechanics of how to get it done, right? Don't think about the logics, right? How can I do this with all my current activities? Just ignore everything. Just write down few points that you can do right now to achieve, to get you one step towards that goal. For example, let's say, so here I set a goal called have a healthy body and healthy mind, right? So I added it, okay? I added one of the my execution item. I exercise for 30 minutes every day in the morning before I start my work, right? And of course, I say, okay, I do not add sugar to my morning tea, and I meditate for 30 minutes before I go to sleep. I write 3 things that I'm grateful for every day before I go to sleep. And this is some example, but just see the way that I added those items, right? You need to be very clear about what you're going to do. And for example, here I exercise for 30 minutes. Okay, I know that every day I need to exercise 30 minutes, right? Then at what time? Okay, morning and before I start my work, right? There's always a trigger, guys, right? So that's exactly the next step is how you would create some habits over continuing and executing these items that really helps you achieving those goals. So you first define your goals. They should be, define your items, action item. They should be very clear, very simple, and you shouldn't have any confusions in the activities that you want to do. So you do it not only just for your one goal, like let's say you identify some massive goals, let's say 4 goals that you really want in your life, right? Your life purposes. This is why you really want to live this life. These are the things that really matters for you. You identify those 4 or 5 or like how many goals that you have, and then start writing down, okay, these are the things that I should do. Write off on top of your head what you can do right now, not let's say in a year from now, not 2 years from now, right now, right? What you can do to get you moving that direction. And after that, guys, so this is the finding your execution plan. You find your purpose and you find your execution plan for all your goals. And the third one, guys, it's about I think you yeah. So let's quickly do exercise as well, right? Now you have identified one of your goals. Without overthinking, just write down, let's say, 2 things that you can do to get you moving towards that direction, right? So again, I will be silent for 1 minute because the time is also elapsing. So I will be silent for 1 minute, right? Go ahead and write that couple of 2 things that you can do to achieve your goal that you previously set. We have more people. I've added those 2 actions. Don't think about the mechanics, how to achieve, how to do that. It says my internet connection is unstable. Let me know like if I'm breaking, right? So don't overthink. Just write down the things that comes to your mind right away. You do it for not one thing, right? All the things that you want to achieve in your life, all the 5, let's say 4 or 5 goals that you may come up with. All right. So now you have a purpose. You identified your purposes, not just one purpose, right? And then you identified what are the things that you need to do. Then the next thing is, how do you find your system, right? The system of execution. This is the systematic approach I've been talking about, guys, right? Like I previously mentioned also, the motivation is not going to work. Motivation, it's a depleting thing. We get motivated, let's say every year, let's say this is year 2021, right? Usually in January, or the 1st of January, we set some goals. Okay, in this year, I'm going to be this person, and I'm going to achieve these things in my life, right? I'm not sure if you guys do that. I mean, usually people do that, right? So when they set those goals at the end, okay, these are things that you want to achieve, and they may be like very excited at the beginning, but the researchers says, I mean, they have found out after the first month, let's say at the beginning of the February, in the 1st of February, 70% of those goals, I mean, they even don't remember of it, right? So that is because you rely on the motivation, guys, because the motivation is not going to work. You need to have a process, or you need to have a system to achieve your life goals. So that is why you need to have a systematic habit-based approach. So why I really focus on these habits, because after these sessions and all these things, you will get back to your normal life, right? And you have like listed, let's say 4 goals and so many items, things that you need to do to achieve those goals. But when you get back to your normal life, you tend to forget things, right? And you don't have that enough cognitive power to again look back this and again go over this and then do the exercises that you need to do every day, right? So that's where the habits really comes in handy, guys. So habits are automatic, right? I mean, we from the childhood we develop good habits, we develop bad habits, right? Regardless they are good habits or bad habits, there are few key points for habits, right? Those are they are triggered by a cue. What is a cue, guys? Let's say you wake up in the morning, right? And as soon as you wake up, usually you do something similar every day. Let's say you want to have your bed tea, right? So without bed tea, you can't start your day. I mean, just an example, right? Or let's say, yeah. So many habits are there. I mean, some of these are good habits, right? and maybe you used to work out or something, then that may be a good habit of you, right? Maybe you you have a habit of eating too much unhealthy food. I mean, that's a bad habit for you. But either case, habits are triggered by a cue. So cue is something associated with your daily every day, right? So when you wake up, that's the cue. So as soon as you wake up and you wash your face, then what is the first thing that you do? So that's the cue, right? When you wake up and wash your face, so that's the cue to get you into the action. So the habit is always triggered by a cue, and then you do it automatically. You don't have to really think about, okay, how should I get my tea? Maybe you will unknowingly go to your kitchen and go ahead and make your tea, right? I mean, you don't have to think much because you are very much used to these things. It will happen automatically. So and the thing is, guys, with the habit, you can build habits, right? It's not always it's the same set of habits you will have from childhood to today. You can build new habits, and that's where we are going to focus on next. So in the third step, right, you need to build 3 habits, and I'll call this magical habit because these are really have some magical effect on me, at least, right? The first one of the main habits that you should do every day is, let's say before you sleep, or like before the day, you need to like look at the goals that you today, or let's say in a week's time, that you guys may come up with, right? You need to look at it, and you need to take a pen and a paper and write them down, right? Without thinking much, just take 5 minutes or so, write the main life goals of you in a paper, right? Not in electronic mood, like phone. Or you need to just write it down every day, whenever you wake up and whenever you go to sleep. Yes, I mean, at the beginning you will feel overwhelmed. Okay, how can I do it every day? But just try it for a couple more days. Then guys, because you need to remind yourself why you do what you do, right? Otherwise, again, you will get back to your normal activities. When you write them down, and when you're writing it subconsciously, you will like really think, it will like get into your bloodstream. Okay, this is exactly what I need to do. So when you have it in your subconscious, guys, lot of things that you will see how you can achieve to your goal. I mean, we have this filtering thing in our brains, and that is scientific, really. So if you have something in your subconscious, all the inputs that we get through our senses will be filtered, and then you will really understand, identify the things that you really want to do, that you aspire, basically. So you want to like achieve your goals, and you're writing it every day, morning and night. Then you will see new things, new opportunities, and new ways, innovative ways, how you can go ahead and achieve this goal. So you do it. That's the first habit that you need to develop, right? And the second habit is 1% improvement on every items in your action plan, right? Now you identified a couple of goals that really matters to you, and also you identify few things, let's say 2-3 things that you should do to get to that goal, right? Here's the thing. This is going to be challenging again, right? You need to do at least a little bit of thing, right? Small action to go ahead and to achieve that particular action item. I'm not talking about goals, because if you have a goals to have a, let's say, a healthy body, and let's say I have a goal to lose my weight, let's say from 10 kilograms, basically, right? So even if I go on a healthy diet one day or 1 week or 1 month, maybe I wouldn't notice much of a difference. Then what happens is my motivation goes away, and I will discontinue it. I will, keep eating, other trash food, right? All that. What you need to do is, guys, when you have that 1% improvement plan or the habit, then you will, you just have to mark it, maybe a paper, or maybe you can use your phone even, right? Okay, I have done this thing today. I have these 3 things to get to my goal. And these are not very time consuming thing that you may do, right? For example, again, I will take the healthy example, right? So I will start with my day with a glass of water, right? So that's what I'm going to do, and every day. So whenever I wake up, I go ahead and drink glass of water, right? So then I know, okay, I did one thing to get to my goal of a healthy life or healthy body at least, right? So then I know I'm completed that action for that day, and I'm satisfied. Right? If you don't have that satisfaction there, guys, and if you had to wait to get that satisfaction until you achieve your goal, and that's not going to work. You need some, drive. You need some treat for yourself to be satisfied every day, right? So when you think about this, guys, the success is not becoming a destination, right? You don't have to reach to a certain destination to feel successful. To feel successful, feel satisfied. It's about every action that you do, and that really complements, really helps you to get to that goal. And then when you complete those actions, you are satisfied. So then success doesn't become a destination. It become a state of mind, guys. So your mind is like always satisfied, and at any point in time in that particular day that you are well on track to achieving your goals, right? And this is a very good thing, guys, because then I mean, all these all the questions that one of you have asked, like is it stressful, the IT industry? It's not even a question, because the things that you do is always helping you to achieve your target. Let's say you want to become get to a certain designation in let's say 2 years or 3 years, right? Then you have to do whatever it takes to get to that destination, and you in the action plan you listed them down, and you are doing at least a simple thing. Let's say you want to learn more about programming, right? And how do you improve your programming language or programming knowledge, right? Well, every day you will go ahead and read an article, right? And there are like so many good websites that you can refer to, right? Every day you will go ahead and read that article, one of the article, or maybe just one paragraph, guys. It's going to be a very small thing, but you will do it continuously. So that's the second habit, guys, right? The third habit is you need to evaluate your daily successes and failures, right? Maybe like before you go to sleep, have a habit, build a habit around before you sleep. Okay, things that I could really work on. I was really successful achieving in that particular day, the action items that you have added, right? You see, okay, these are the things that I could do, and I'm really happy about it. And these are things I couldn't do. Why couldn't I do it? Is there new ways that I can do? This is the way that you will think about new ways of achieving your goals. So you will start thinking about it. If this doesn't work, what can I do? Because this is again a continuous improvement, guys. You need to continuously clear your path to getting your achieving your goal. Because remember, in the second step, I told you, don't overthink, just come up with the actions that you think, okay, this is how I should start. And you start with those actions and you will evaluate them. Okay, is it like working for me? If not, how can I like maybe change this action, or maybe like add a new one? Maybe that's if that is not working. So you are always thinking, and you are like really becoming an active participant of your success, guys, right? This is very important. So that is the habit number 3. So you remind yourself why you do what you do. So you always, every day, every time, you are like fully aware of what you need to do, what you need to be, right? And one trick I would also here like to mention, if you need to get to some, reach to a goal, guys, first you need to become that person. Let's say you want to be a I don't know, let's say yeah, you need to have a healthy body. I'll take the same example, right? So you need to imagine, and in your mind you have to feel the feeling when you have that healthy body, how your feelings is going to be, right? You're like so happy about it, and you feel energetic, right? And all this. So you need to be that person first, even in your thoughts, right? Then you will take the action to do that, and then you will get to it. Because when you really think about it, your mind and your mind really want to reach out to you. I mean, this is again some science behind it, guys. So even let's say you are doing a presentation or something, you need to think about the end result, right? What you really want to deliver, right? And then you will go ahead and start doing your work, like delivering what you have to do, and somehow one way or another you will see you will reach your destination. And there's a science behind it. I'm not going to talk a little bit more on that, but habit number one and the habit number two is 1% improvement. So it's not very overwhelming thing I'm talking about. And one other thing I would like to highlight here, guys, when you do these small activities, probably you will feel, okay, this is very insignificant. Will I really achieve something just because I do this small activity? Let's say you read a paragraph or something of a technical document, right? Article. Will that really help you? Of course, it's going to be. Although you will at this point you don't see the value of it, the very insignificance of it. It compound, guys. You know? There's this compound effect. You will do it continuously for a month, second month, third month, and then you guys will be completely surprised how much you have learned, how much you improved. And that is, that is going to be a life changer for you, right? Because you are like practicing this, your trial and error thing, doing this, right? Okay, evaluate your success and daily plan. Again, you need to rethink and change if needs any changes to that. Moving on, since I don't have so 11, I'll take 5 more minutes and then I'll end it. Yes, so finding ways to inline your goals. Now, you identify several goals, guys, and you have some action items that you have added as well. Now, this you can, I mean, you wouldn't need to do it right away when you start with this framework or tips, I would say, right? The thing is, I mean, we have only 24 hours. We need to use it effectively. So the actions that we do per day, it should help achieving multiple goals. And that is where you need to inline your goal. For example, here's the example I have added. Let's say you want to have an A+ for your level 2 semester 1, let's say programming module, right? So that is your like one of the goals. I mean, that goal, I would say it's a small goal. You have to like really think about beyond that, but let's take it for an example, right? And you need to be successful there. So what you do is, and also you need to highlight yourself in the industry, so industry people will notice you. So what you do is you will go and refer to this some of the learnings, the lectures that you have done, also additional references that you can refer to, and learn something that you have been unclear so far, right? So you will be like fully aware about that particular subject. Let's say recursions, right? So you want to learn about recursion, you are like a little bit unaware of it, and you had some doubt, so you go ahead and you learn good about it. Like now we are like very familiar with it, so you go ahead and write a blog post and just share it in, let's say, LinkedIn or Medium or wherever, right? Then what happens is it will help you achieving your first goal, like getting a A+ in programming module, as well as you will be like highlighted in the industry because you put it out something. And when you put out article or whatever the content, a lot of people start looking at it, right? And you will see so many people looking at your blog post, and sometimes they will not comment, or like they will not praise you. That's all right, right? That's all right, because that you did something good, right? It's about your satisfaction. It doesn't matter what others say. Like I previously mentioned, 50% of people will like what you do, 50% will not like what you do. So that's why I told you, like, you need to find actions to inline your goals. That whatever the actions that you do, learning about recursion, help you to pass your exam, as well as it will really help you to write a blog post about it, and that will in turn consolidate your knowledge about recursion. And the blog post that you put out will help get you required attention from the industry people, and you will get a lot of good opportunities as well. Okay, just example, right? Okay. Fifth one is continuous learning. I can't stress enough how important this is, particularly in the industry that you are in, the IT industry. Okay, you need to sharpen your sword, guys. I mean, you've been doing so many things, and if your sword is blunt, right, you can't cut it properly, cut a tree properly, right? Cut down a tree. You have to sharpen your sword. So you work hard, obviously that is important, but you need to be smart about it as well. So if you don't know something, guys, let's say you don't know about programming much, let's say that you are a fresher or you are in level 2, you really want to know, learn about programming, about, let's say, double OP, about design patterns, about algorithm, data structures, and your knowledge is, okay, it's not up to the level that I expect, right? So why don't you go ahead and learn, guys, right? Because in universities, right, we have a syllabus we need to follow, right? And whether you like it or not, you need to follow it. But following that, while you are following that course module, there are so many other resources that you can deliberately go and learn by yourself, right? Now, selective learning is really important, guys. I mean, there are big difference between what you are told to follow and what you go ahead and research and learn, right? So that is, you selectively go and seek for knowledge. You can refer to so many abundant resources are there, right? And that is the fantastic news, because we are in a many resources are there for you to learn. You have YouTube, right? You have so many blog articles. You have good courses. Let's say in Udemy, you can just purchase a course for $10. I mean, we spend much more than that, let's say $1,000 or so for a couple of meals and so on, right? So why not you invest on yourself? The best investment that you can do right now while you're studying, and even like after you join the industry, is investing on yourself. Because if you invest on yourself, guys, the return will not just be one-fold, it will be 10-fold, 20-fold. You will see a lot of return about what you have previously invested. You only, let's say, spent $1,000 for a particular course, and that course will have a very structured way of teaching you how to learn that particular subject. Okay, and whoever the course creator will be very experienced, and he will be like trying to relate his knowledge, convey his knowledge in a structured manner. And so unlike, let's say, you referring to a very unstructured something on internet, but when you follow this structured way of learning, guys, you will build your knowledge very well, right? And that will help you immensely, and you will get that learning, and it will boost your confidence level, and it will help you so much, right? Of course, on your academics as well as your career, right? It will help you so much. It will help you to build the expertise that you really want to build. So fall in love with selective learning, and that's one thing I want to tell you, and that's step number 5. So this is practicing continuous learning. So as you may have now understood it, these are not linear 5 steps, guys. These are like circle, right? You go from step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have to like repeat it every day, right? And yeah, so these are the 5 steps I would like to share with you today. So how do you get started with continuous learning? I know, like, I did this session for freshers in University of Morutu IT faculty, and I created this 10 weeks challenge, right? I created this GitHub repository, and sometimes, if let's say one of you feel, okay, I don't have the required technical knowledge at the moment, and I'm not confident enough, right? And I'll invite you to take this 10 weeks challenge, right? And it's going to, when you complete this challenge, I guarantee you that, right, it's going to boost your confidence in 100 times, right? Because if you don't have confidence, guys, then you are not taking in technical discussions, and you will just shy away, right? And I mean, it's not good, right? You need to have a good confidence in you, basically. Any self-doubt that you may have in the IT industry, you will get rid of it. So If you like, so let me quickly show you that, right? So it is the 10 weeks challenge, right? I'll probably put it in the chat. So I create this one in a way that it will help you build your knowledge from the beginning. Now this was intended to very freshers, but I'm not sure, like sometimes like it's good to unlearn the things that you learn and then like gradually build your knowledge. So if you may interested, you can start learning from HTML, right? Because that is one thing you should be very familiar with. Then you'll be able to build websites, and then you will learn CSS. Styling is very important, right? Then add some dynamic aspects of it. You will learn JavaScript, so you can do fantastic things with JavaScript and so on, right? And then you must learn object-oriented programming, right? I'm sure that you guys have some understanding at the moment, but go ahead and just follow this as well. It will like help you consolidate your knowledge. Learn Java, whatever the object-oriented programming language. So this is a course that I've added. These are all free courses on YouTube. And then you need to learn some backend technology, right? Start with Node.js, because if you're familiar with JavaScript, it will be very easy. And you're also familiar with Java, so you know about object orientation as well. But in the industry for web development, some industry, a lot of industries, they use Node.js as well for scalability and all this time. And then learn about database technology. So it's the MongoDB course, right? And you should know about building APIs, right? So the full stack developer, because in industry, particularly in Sri Lanka, we are looking for full stack developers. So you should know about how to build your database, build your APIs, build your front end, how all these things connect, security aspects, performance, all these things you should be aware of. That's why I'm trying to gradually build your knowledge in each week. You should learn about the front end framework like React.js. You know about JavaScript, but there are some good frameworks that's built which does a lot of heavy lifting for front end development, right? And then full stack web development, right? Here's a course that you can, and also a cloud knowledge, right? Whatever the cloud platform, you should have some good cloud knowledge, because now the knowledge about cloud computing has become essential part, right? So yeah, so it's a course that you have, and the commitment that I'm expecting from you is 2 hours per day, right? Now that you're at homes, right, houses, adding 2 hours for your future, I don't think it's a big commitment. So it's up to you. So I'll share this link maybe in the chat itself, right? Yeah, so that's it, guys. So I added a couple of references here as well. And also just a TED talk that I really like, right? Because while I was, let me quickly give my couple of words about my internship. And also I did the internship at 99X. When I got selected to internship, I was doing okay, good with academics, no problem with that. But when it comes to technical knowledge, I was average. I don't say I was bad or poor, but I knew I can improve quite a bit, right? Then I started looking at how I can improve my knowledge. I was just referring to a lot of content in the internet to build my technical knowledge, right? And in the same time, I referred to a lot of personal development materials, right? And then and I started executing those suggestions, plans that those authors have generously shared with us, right? Then I saw some things work, something do not work, and then I found these 5 steps that works for me. Probably it will work for you. I'm not guaranteeing really, right? And I'm not making any promises or so. You need to like get into the growth mindset aspects, right? Like Isuru mentioned, it's not something it will immediately come to you. You need to like get in the process first, right? And then you will realize what path really works for you, but you need to start. So that's why I did a couple of exercises with you just to get you started, right? And continuing it's up to you, right? Yeah, so I started like focusing on cloud computing a little bit, and because I started liking that particular technology, cloud computing technology, so I started contributing to it. Then I got different accolades from AWS, and yeah, so I started this AWS User Group just because I would still again, like the things that I do, again, I'm doing it for some of the goals that I have set, right, guys? So it sometimes it helps the community as well, which is really good, and I'm happy about it. And also helped me to build my knowledge, be an expert in that area. So a couple of things I would like to share with you guys. And this TED Talks, go ahead and watch it. There's the link here. I'll share the presentation with you all. It's a very good TED Talk, by the way. Go ahead and watch it. Okay, so that's it, guys. If you have any questions, unmute yourself and you can ask it if you have. Thanks.